Being now called to order, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Pavoni.
Here.
Mr. Corman.
Here.
Mr. Prince.
Here.
Mr. Person.
Here.
Ms. Witchy.
Here.
Mr. McGurven.
Here.
Ms. Perez. Here. Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All present.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is administrative report. Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, want to just remind members of the public that we are coming up on some job fairs this spring and want folks to know they can go online at our website and link to governmentjobs.com, which will give people careers in Renton as well as other opportunities. And so folks who are interested can certainly go there. We have our summer parks what's happening brochure out to tell people all sorts of activities that they can participate in this summer. And wanted to mention that our own museum manager, Elizabeth Stewart, was given the Willard Jew Memorial Award for staff by the Association of King County Historical Organizations last week. It's presented to individuals who've made outstanding contributions to heritage organizations and provided exceptional leadership and the spirit of service. And we know Liz certainly emulates that. She's been the head of our Renton History Museum for 11 years now. We have this Saturday, the Department of Ecology teaming up with the Don't Drip and Drive program, offering free auto leak detection workshops to the public at Renton Technical College. Folks can learn basic car care and get a free oil leak inspection at the workshop. And that's a $125 value that this week you're getting for free, so it's a good deal. So we encourage people to go there. And as always, we have a number of traffic improvement programs throughout the city, and we just always encourage people to use caution when they're driving, certainly where workers are out in the right-of-way. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Okay, moving to audience comments. We have a couple people signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Neil Sheasley.
Good evening. I'm Neil Sheasley, president of North Renton Neighborhood Association. And I'm here tonight to thank some city staff for helping us when we started engaging with the city to make our neighborhood a better place. And I would like to say a special thank you to Jay Covington, your city administrator, and to Chip Vincent. I don't know what his title is.
We haven't given him a title yet.
Him and his staff, they've really done an outstanding job, and it's been a pleasant experience working with them. That's all I have to say.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Chip is the administrator for Community and Economic Development. Okay, next is Dianne Dobson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Dianne Dobson, resident of North Renton. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this evening. There's a sergeant in your police force who I've held to a standard higher than others. That is because he was tasked with the safety and security of not only my business in downtown Renton, where I work with my family, but also to our homes in North Renton, where we have 3 homes of Dobson families in the neighborhood. Well, I was always thankful of his service. I was slow to commend, quick to critique, and hypercritical of the job that his guys were doing. I raised my daughter and coached my athletes to the same degree of a higher standard. I also call it 41 years of living in my utopia and doing whatever I can to maintain the community within it, and expecting those charged with the various tasks to embrace them with the same passion for success that I might have. But I'm here tonight to sing the praise for Sergeant John Awai and his efforts within our communities and city of community-based policing and how he has made a difference in our North Renton community. One of the guys I was quick to call to the table when he first joined the force was Officer Cheney, who is one of Sergeant Awai's guys. After a few days after sharing my observations, at about 10 o'clock one night, Sergeant Awai appeared in our front yard in full black tactical type gear with Officer Cheney by his side. He let us know he had walked the trail with Officer Cheney and showed him the areas of concern to residents, the areas people like to hide, the problem points, and areas you can see on foot that you might miss from your vehicle on the bridge. Sergeant Awai informed us what they had seen and efforts they had made, and likewise we engaged with the two officers and shared our observations. In the process, 2 more of our neighbors came out, and it was a pleasant and relaxed environment of sharing information and working together. Since that time and engagement, Officer Cheney has become one of North Renton's favorite officers. He openly communicates with residents when he is on duty and sees them. He's approachable and engaging. He readily responds to residents by email and phone, and works with neighbors in dispersing photos and videos for identification to the department, which has been successful on many levels. Just last week, Officer Cheney reached out to the neighborhood and made himself available at the start of his shift to talk candidly with neighbors about the neighborhood, something he had done impromptu the week before with neighbors. This past Saturday, a group of neighbors took him up on the offer and met him in Jones Park, thereby also influxing a park that we have some challenges with things we want, like neighbors and police officers and positive experiences. Officer Cheney also invited Officer Carney to join us. Officer Carney is the new officer who will be replacing Officer Cheney within our neighborhood. Officer Cheney demonstrated candid discussion with neighbors he had already known as well as new neighbors in a relaxed setting, in a jovial fashion, and without judgment, scrutiny, or apprehension. Officer Cheney demonstrated to our neighbors and to Officer Carney community-based policing and working together towards solutions. It's one thing to know something. It's another thing to know something well enough to teach it. But a shining example of success is when you're able to teach something to someone, they turn around and implement those teachings with a true understanding to the point of then effectively teaching it to others as well. So Sergeant Awai took the time to take Officer Cheney under his wing. He took the extra steps to not just tell this young officer what he should be doing, but to get out there and hands-on with the community and show him how to do it, how he does it. We're seeing changes and we're seeing success with communication with the Renton Police Department. At minimum, neighbors feel engaged in the process and are taking ownership of their neighborhood and the community within it, and we're recognizing the change of approach with some of the officers coming through. So as North Renton bids farewell to Officer Cheney as he moves on to his next adventure outside of the city, and welcomes Officer Carney to the North Renton family, I take a very intended moment in front of an important audience to share a very deserving thank you to Sergeant John Awai for his efforts he has made in North Renton toward the community-based policing approach and how he personally has made a difference within our community.
That's very nice.
Thank you very much, Dan. We'll pass along your comments to Sergeant Awai and to Officer Cheney. Appreciate it.
Really nice.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Carmen.
Kind of along the same lines as the 2 speakers tonight, I had a chance to look at some of the videos from North Renton. There's, just about everybody's getting surveillance cameras these days, and it's great for the public safety, I think. But I think as a new technology, we're just starting to learn what can and can't be done with the images, and I was surprised to find how many cases we have that look like, to me they seem like crimes. People coming up onto a porch and looking for packages and deciding there aren't any packages and then leaving again. They've trespassed. It looks almost like it might have been an intended, an attempted burglary or whatever. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I did think it might be a good time for us to start looking at some of our laws again, our trespass laws, attempted burglary. There's videos I've seen, people catch surveillance of individuals like trying to open their car doors. They'll go around the car, try to open all the car doors, none of the doors open, so they move on. What are they doing this for? Mm-hmm. And so I understand that there's it's complex. If our city prosecutor feels like the judge isn't going to accept the case or convict, then they won't bring the charges forward, or hamstring the police officers, and they can't. But I'd just like to. I think. Well, frankly, I guess I'd like to refer the subject of maybe our trespass ordinances to the Public Safety Committee. I would so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that the topic of trespass ordinance be referred to the Public Safety Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And then, Mr. Mayor, so that you don't waste a lot of time trying a lot of different things and have me play Bring Me a Rock or whatever, I guess I'd like to suggest maybe we could talk a little bit about some ideas I have.
Sure.
Just sort of modernize it, figure out what can you spot on a camera that we could, convict someone for.
Well, we can also get the city attorney's office to explain to you what rights we do have. And,
Exactly,
you know, that sort of
exactly,
thing.
and we could figure out what tools we have. And
Yeah.
dig in.
Okay.
Great, thank you
Will
very
do.
much.
You bet.
And Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
I just want to take this opportunity just to mention that I know Sergeant Aguay pretty well because he's not just fully bilingual, but fully bicultural. And I'm really proud when you speak about him because he has done an incredible job also helping the Hispanic and Latino community. And I cannot say good enough things about him. So having you here talking about him makes me feel really proud to have someone like him in Renton Police Department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, we have 6 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the council concur with the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mr. Prince,
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Person.
No unfinished business, Mr.
Wow. Ms. Witchy.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, I know we're getting to some business
Yeah.
here now.
Yeah.
Mr. McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Utilities Committee has a committee report.
Okay.
Okay, the first committee report is regarding an agreement for the Kennydale Lakeline Sewer System Evaluation, Phase 2A Condition Assessment. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to execute the agreement for the Kennydale Lakeline Sewer System Evaluation, Phase 2A Condition Assessment with Carollo Engineering in the amount of $961,055. And this is signed by the committee chair and vice chair.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. McGurven.
Yes, I suppose not everyone out there knows that we have a sewer line running along Lower Kennydale and Lake Washington, but it's one of those things you want to make sure is in good working order, and thus we're needing a evaluation and some possible upkeep that goes with that. So it's out in the water, which obviously adds to the cost a little bit, but it's a very necessary job to be done. So I won't be doing it, thankfully, but with that, I'd like to move that the council concur with the Utilities Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. McGurven, second by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Utilities Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Transportation Committee has 2 committee reports to present.
Okay, the first committee report is regarding Seaplane Scenics Operating Permit and Agreement. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the operating permit and agreement with Seaplane Scenics for their sublease from Aerodyne LLC and authorizes the mayor and city clerk to sign the operating permit and agreement. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
I move that the council concur with the recommended action of the Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Perez, second by Ms. Witchy, that council concur with the Transportation Aviation Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, the second committee report is regarding North Park Avenue Extension Preliminary Design and Design Report Phase Agreement with Pertite. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the North Park Avenue Extension Preliminary Design and Design Report Phase Agreement with Pertite Incorporated in the amount of $159,655 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
The Transportation Aviation Committee has, no, I'm sorry, I was thinking another thing. I move that council concur with the recommended action of the Transportation Aviation Committee.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Perez, second by Ms. Witchy, that council concur with the Transportation Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
That will be it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to new business. Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to say that next week there are no agenda bills for the May 8th council agenda, so I'd like to make a motion that next week's council meeting be canceled.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that council cancel the May 8th council meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, and then also on May 8th, the committee of the whole meeting will be canceled. On May 15th, at 5:15, the committee of the whole will gather in the conferencing center. We have 5 issues. The first one is Parks, Trails, Open Space Initiative. Second is Bike Master Plan. Third is Energize East Side Update. And the fourth is Regional Issues. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Corman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to announce a Public Safety Committee meeting for Monday, May 15th at 3:30 p.m. And we have 3 items on that agenda. It'll be in our council conference room here on the 7th floor. 3 items on that agenda. The first is Fire Station number 15 and Capital Facilities Plan for RRFA. Second is the Dangerous Dog Ordinance. And I think we'll get started discussing that. We're probably not going to finish that up at that meeting, but I want to get into some of the issues there. And then the third is emerging issues in police, including drones and microchipping of animals. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prince?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Planning and Development Committee meeting scheduled for Thursday, May 11th has been canceled. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee will meet Monday, May 15th at 4:30 PM in the council conference room. 2 topics, vouchers and emerging issues in revenue streams.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Witchy?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, May 15th at 5 p.m. in the council conference room, the Community Services Committee will be appointing Mr. Shun Takano to the Parks Commission. And that is
Okay,
all.
Thank you. Mr. McIrvin?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just need to announce that the Utilities Committee that would have occurred on Thursday, May 11th has been canceled.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Perez?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just announced that the Transportation Aviation Committee that would have taken place on May 15 is canceled.
Okay, thank you. That's it. What's the wish of the council?
Move we
We
adjourn.
adjourn.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Ms. Witchy, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.